Hi, welcome to the presentation on winning approach to get internship from industry for the MBA students. Actually, this slide is actually the triggering point for the entire presentation. In fact, if you see there, on one side, the MBA students find it difficult to get internship from the companies. On the other side, the companies are living with their pain points without knowing whom to engage to study their manageable pain points. Or the major pain point, definitely they'll go to the consultant and other agencies to do that. But some of the manageable pain point, they'll just live with the problem forever. So this slide is actually trying to bridge this gap and trying to make a win-win situation. So what is the need for internships for the companies? Companies are actually busy in chasing their annual business targets all the time. Many organizations are too focused on operations and short-term issues and not much on the medium and long-term issues. Many organizations are also in the firefighting mode. They have very limited time and resources available to identify and study the pain points. Even though some of the senior people will be interested, but they do not have the time to focus on all that. So they do not have the appropriate resources available with them to take up such non-routine activities. At the same time, many of these companies are open to engage MBA students who show a lot of interest, who are also focused to take up internship studies on the specific problems they identify. Many companies are also aware that actually it's a win-win approach. Okay, now let us see what is the present situation. Today, many MBA students approach the companies for internship without doing any homework, requesting for internship without even knowing what exactly they can contribute. They just think that only the industry will tell them what they have to do, but it is not the case. Only they have to go and tell them what exactly they are willing to take up. Many companies in turn simply say they do not give any internship study to any student without seeking more detail. They simply turn away the request because they're too busy in the firefighting and day-to-day activities. They do not want to entertain such requests at all. Many companies are not aware of this excellent opportunity available to study some of their problem areas with the student. The companies which have tasted this opportunity, they will continue to call the student. The companies which have never tried this opportunity, so they may not be even knowing such a possibility is available. Some company executives are not even aware of internship. So it all depends upon whether they're all exposed to this type of activity. Many companies do not even have a proper system, particularly the large companies, to capture the pain points from other departments and furnish to the HR department who normally deal with all these MBA students. No? So because unless such a system is there, people may be having problem, but they do not know to whom exactly to discuss with or who will come and address these issues and all that. So in such situation, the MBA students should proactively explain this win-win approach to the company executives. They can tell them how they will be useful to the organization in solving their some of the problem which are all within the domain, or they'll be able to see a fresh look into the whole thing because they're all very fresh people. That's the biggest advantage for them to approach the issue. Hence, it is strongly suggested to approach senior executives in any organization who will be able to appreciate this concept and take forward. Many times, as I mentioned earlier, the junior level executives or the people at the lower level of the organization, they may not be able to understand this concept. They may not be able to know how exactly to take forward. So they'll simply try to turn away your request. So some students look for internship only for stipend. But the reality is that only the study is important, not exactly the stipend. So what is the approach we have to follow? First, identify few companies where you have some contact. This is very important. The contact may be through the placement office of your college department, or maybe a friend, or a relative, or a neighbor. But the alumni network is the excellent route for positive outcome because alumni, they understand your requirement. They also will help you to identify areas for internship. They also will know some of the problem areas present in the organization. So in that way, they will be quite useful to you. So, but at the same time, the student should carry out some research with the company annual research report. That research is very, very important because they should do some analysis and try to find out some areas and all that. They can identify the areas of internship based on their background. So a finance person can take up some finance study, or engineer can take up some production area or maintenance area, etc., etc. So area of identification is also equally important. Very important point is try to identify some pain points of the company areas of concern. Actually, this is actually the crux of the whole thing. Unless you identify some pain point, you may not be able to sell your idea to the management. So you have to really break your head and try to identify some pain points of the company where you can find a solution. So prepare a brief presentation to the company covering the various pain points, areas of concern, and how you are proposed methodology of the study. Because once you give some the presentation, the organization also will be able to understand your seriousness, your commitment. So they also will started showing interest. So finally, it will work out well. Explain how the deliverables through the internship study will be useful to the company in specific terms, because finally the management will be interested to know what are you going to do, because you're going to spend about 3 months time. They are going to share with you a lot of data. They are going to spend a lot of time with you. So finally, how it is going to be useful. So the deliverables only should be able to close the whole issue. Another interesting important point you have to see here, many students think about this internship only in the last minute, but that will not really work. So better start addressing this issue in the first semester itself. The moment you join the organization, join the department or the university or this one, you start think about this. Try to do some mini project work, some short market survey with the target companies in the first semester itself if feasible, so that you can develop some rapport with the executives. So once you develop some rapport with the company executives, then things will be relatively easier, and this approach will definitely help you to gain main internship study later, because both of you will be able to think together, so you'll be able to close the issue very comfortably. So what are the areas that you can think about internship? So you can think about production, or you think about marketing, or think about account, think about maintenance, think about technology, think about human resources, think about administration. See, in fact, areas like maintenance, normally not, it's quite a neglected area. Not many people take up internship in a maintenance study, but there are a lot of things you can study in the maintenance area. Similarly, technology is an emerging area. Many companies are not really tuned to address this technology issue. So you can really help the organization how this technology issue can be addressed and all that. So let us quickly try to see some of the sample topics. I'm not going to give an exhaustive list, because just to generate some interest, just to show you what type of topics you can think about, I'm just giving some idea. Study of plant breakdowns with a view to review the maintenance policies. Review of key spares availability, because sometimes the breakdown may be due to spares non-availability. Or to study the breakdown pattern, or to carry out the root cause analysis of certain breakdowns if they're all recurring nature. So like that, there are a lot of studies can be carried out in the breakdown, so which will really help to improve the plant's availability and so output and efficiency and whatnot. Study of product rejections to improve the output quality is another area to think of. Study of inventory system with a special focus on critical spares, non-moving spares. This is another area untouched. Not many people touch this area. We normally take only ABC analysis and certain things, but you try to focus on critical spares, non-moving spares and all that. Very interesting findings you can get. Study to identify the opportunities and threats of the company from technology perspective. As I told you, many organizations will be really interested to give such studies, because they're also quite keen, and if they are ready to take up such studies, they're ready to give you all the support. How to leverage technology to improve the competitive advantage. This is a very important study for any organization, because you're going to leverage the technology to improve the competitive advantage. So that will really, they'll be interested to take up such studies. Some studies on marketing. Marketing is again a vast area, so you can take up any study depending upon the requirement. You should do some analysis of marketing data or talk to some people, then only you'll be able to pinpoint certain areas. Maybe a study of consumer satisfaction or pain points of major product lines. That can be a study you can think of. Or competitor analysis with a view to address their weaknesses and threats, or review of digital marketing initiative. Some companies would have started a digital marketing, but no one would have followed up very effectively. So you can also try to find out what can be done on that, or a brand loyalty study, or a market segmentation study, etc. Some studies, like even you can think about studies like evaluate whether ERP is used as a decision support tool. Many organizations consider ERP only as just a financial backup model. But ERP throws a large amount of data in almost all the production areas. So you'll be able to really use the data for decision support, improvement, cost reduction, so many things you can do it with. So that will be a very interesting study. Or a study to identify the CSR initiatives. Because today government is also quite keen for the companies to take up corporate social responsibility initiatives. Even in this corona period also, the government is requesting companies to look into some of the CSR. So you will be able to, you can help the company to identify areas where CSR initiatives can be done. And also you can do some studies for cost reduction across the organization. Today cost reduction is a very important area. Or development of framework to promote innovation across the organization. See, today innovation is a very, very important area. Again, many organizations may not have time, may not have the orientation to do exactly the innovation promotion of the organization. So you can give some base framework for them to work on, perfect it later. Or study of the employee perception on various policies of the company, maybe quality policy or innovation policy or customer orientation policy and all that. Hope I think this presentation has given fairly a good idea about how exactly to crack that in this one. Because today, I mean, unless you follow this methodology, you may really get stuck. Once you follow this methodology very systematically, you'll be 100% sure you should be able to get some internship in a good organization, and it will also help you to take up more studies or even sometime employment also later. So I thank you all for the patient listening. Hope you really enjoyed the presentation. Hope this presentation is really useful to everybody. Thank you once again to you.